Have you ever wondered why, as we grow older, we start to value our time and relationships differently? At 70, life has a way of shifting your perspective. You begin to realize that time isn't something you can afford to waste anymore. What used to be endless hours spent on trivial conversations or superficial connections now feels like precious moments to be cherished. In this video, I'm going to share the surprising reasons why, as we age, we start to choose solitude and meaningful connections over crowded gatherings and endless social obligations. But why should you stay until the end? I'll be revealing personal insights on how relationships change over time, how trust becomes more complicated, and how, in your later years, it's possible to find peace in a way you never thought possible. You'll also hear about the shift from chasing success to embracing simplicity and how this stage in life can be the most fulfilling one yet. If you've ever felt the pull to protect your peace, or if you're in a stage of life where you're questioning how you spend your time, this video is for you. You'll discover how solitude isn't loneliness, why choosing quality over quantity in relationships is a gift, and how to embrace this chapter of life with authenticity and joy. So, stay with me, because what you'll learn might change the way you look at your journey. If you are not subscribed, I recommend subscribing and activating the notification bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support means a lot to me, and if you enjoyed this video, you can help me continue spreading the valuable lessons by liking and sharing it. When I was younger, time felt like an infinite river, endlessly flowing, its waters never ceasing, its direction always a mystery. I lived with a naive belief that there would always be more moments to waste, that the hours would stretch forever ahead of me, like a road with no end. I squandered them with careless abandon, filling my days with trivial conversations, relationships that had no real depth, and tasks that brought no true joy or fulfillment. Back then, everything seemed unimportant, just fragments of life drifting by. But now, with the wisdom of age, I see the truth. Every fleeting second is a precious gift, a treasure to be cherished. And I no longer wish to waste a single one. Time has evolved from a mere measurement of existence into a companion, sometimes gentle and comforting, at other times unyielding and relentless, always reminding me of its impermanence and urging me to hold dear the moments I still have. It's in the quiet mornings, when the world is still and calm, that I find myself seated with my coffee, the warmth of the cup grounding me, as I watch the sun stretch its golden rays across the horizon. I savor those moments, those precious minutes when the world feels untouched and full of possibility. It's in the afternoons too, when I walk slowly, my feet crunching through the fallen leaves, each step a quiet victory, reminding me of the strength that still resides within me, of the body that continues to carry me forward, despite the years. And then there's the evening, a time of reflection, when I sink into my favorite chair, a quiet space for contemplation, where memories of a life well lived come rushing back. Those moments of love, laughter, and the sweet simplicity of being present. I once believed that the key to a fulfilled life was in doing more, filling every moment with people and activities, thinking that the more I accumulated, the fuller my life would be. But over time, I've learned that the opposite is true. The fullness of life doesn't come from the quantity of what you do or how many people you surround yourself with. It's about the quality of those experiences, the depth of the connections you make, and the richness of the moments that matter most. Now, I am more intentional with how I spend my time. I choose, carefully and deliberately, where to place my energy, who to invite into my life, and when to let go. I would rather sit in a quiet room with someone who truly sees me for who I am, who understands my heart, than attend a loud, crowded gathering where I feel like a stranger amidst a sea of faceless voices. My time has become my most sacred possession, and I guard it fiercely because I have come to understand its irreplaceable value. When you're young, there's an unspoken promise that tomorrow will always come, that there will be time to fix the mistakes of the past, to rekindle broken friendships, to chase lost dreams. But as the years pass, you realize how few of those tomorrows are truly guaranteed. This realization doesn't fill me with sadness. Instead, it ignites a fire of intention within me. I no longer waste my time on petty drama, on conversations that go nowhere, or on obligations that do not align with my values. Now, I pour my energy into the things that matter, the things that truly nourish my soul. My health, my passions, and the relationships with those who bring light and warmth into my life. There's a profound peace in this shift, a peace that comes with the quiet confidence of knowing who I am and what truly matters. I have stopped feeling guilty for saying no to things that do not serve me and stopped explaining myself when I choose solitude over socializing. It's not that I don't value relationships. No, I cherish them more than ever, but my focus has shifted. Now, I seek out authentic connections, meaningful conversations, and moments that enrich my soul rather than simply fill the time. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 1 below to let me know that you are still here with me. At this stage of my life, time is also about letting go. Letting go of the regrets over past mistakes, the guilt over lost time, and the grudges that once seemed so important. Letting go of the belief that I have to do it all, accomplish it all, be it all. I've learned that it's okay to slow down, to breathe deeply, and simply be. There's no rush anymore, no race to the finish line. The best moments aren't found in grand achievements or in chasing some distant goal. No, the best moments lie in the small, quiet joys, the sound of a favorite song playing, the warmth of a gentle breeze against my skin, the sound of laughter that comes from deep within. These moments, these simple gifts, are what truly fills my heart. So yes, time feels more precious than ever, but in its preciousness, it has become richer, fuller, and more meaningful. I have stopped chasing it, running after it with reckless abandon, and instead, I have learned to savor it, to be present in every fleeting moment. In doing so, I have discovered a kind of contentment I never thought possible. A peace that comes from fully embracing the present and understanding the profound gift that each day truly is. At 70, I no longer fear running out of time. Instead, I hold it close, aware of its fleeting nature, but grateful for every second I am given. Because I now know, deeply and profoundly, just how much of a gift this time is. Relationships, like everything in life, are constantly evolving, and so are we. As the years pass, these connections transform in ways that are often unexpected, catching us off guard when we least anticipate it. Some relationships grow deeper, forged by the weight of shared memories, the quiet understanding that comes from knowing each other's hearts, and the quiet bond of years spent together. These relationships, though tested by time, stand strong, unshaken by the storms of life. But others, some, you may find, gradually fade away, like a cherished book you once loved but now rests quietly on a shelf, never to be touched again. At 70, I've come to accept this truth, that not every relationship is meant to endure the test of time, and there is peace in this acceptance. There is a profound freedom in letting go of what no longer serves you, understanding that life is a series of chapters that must be written, read, and sometimes closed. What I've learned over the years, through heartache and joy, is that the relationships that endure through this stage of life are often the ones that truly matter, the ones that are worth holding on to. When I was younger, I thought relationships were everything. I filled my life with friends, colleagues, neighbors, and acquaintances, each one a thread in the vibrant tapestry of my existence. I was the one who remembered every birthday, showed up at every event, and did everything I could to keep everyone happy, even if it drained me. I believed that maintaining connections was the key to a fulfilling life. I thought that the more people I had around me, the more loved I would be. But, over time, I began to realize how exhausting it was to sustain relationships that did not nourish me in return, and that were rooted in obligation rather than genuine connection. Life has a way of naturally pruning the branches of our social tree. People change, life pulls them in different directions, and sometimes even the strongest of bonds begin to wither. Some relationships dissolve slowly, like sand slipping through your fingers. Others end abruptly, leaving a hole where once there was laughter and conversation. I used to take these losses personally, wondering if I could have done something differently, if I could have held on tighter, fought harder. But now, I understand that life's journey, this unpredictable, winding road we all walk, sometimes leads us away from the people we once held dear. People come into our lives for a reason, a season, or a lifetime, and being able to recognize which one each relationship is has brought me a sense of peace and a deep acceptance that not every relationship is meant to last forever. Some people stay for the long haul, others serve as teachers or companions for a fleeting moment, and that is okay. What I've also learned, and perhaps the most important lesson of all, is that we change too. I am not the same person I was at 40, or even 60. Time does not merely alter the outside. It shifts your inner world, reshapes your values, and redefines your priorities. I've come to cherish simplicity, kindness, and authenticity more than ever before. I no longer have the patience for drama, for toxic connections that drain my soul. In my earlier years, I thought that being there for everyone was a mark of true friendship or devotion, but I've come to realize that true relationships are balanced. They do not drain you, they uplift you. They bring you joy, not exhaustion. Some of the most profound lessons I've learned about relationships have been born from heartache. The trust that was shattered by those I cared for, the loyalty that was not returned, and the kindness that was taken for granted. All of these experiences left deep, painful scars. But from these wounds came wisdom. They taught me how to set boundaries, how to protect my heart and my peace. They showed me the importance of recognizing red flags early on and, above all, they taught me how to prioritize my well-being. Now, I invest my time and energy into relationships that bring out the best in me. Those who encourage me, support me, and make my life richer in ways I never thought possible. And yet, despite the lessons and the growth, there are still moments when I feel a soft ache in my heart for the relationships that have faded. I think of a friend who was once as close as a sibling but whom I haven't spoken to in years, or a family member whose path has diverged so far from mine that we no longer share anything in common. It's bittersweet, this longing for connections that no longer exist in the same way. But as much as it hurts to look back, I've come to realize that these relationships, these moments in time, are not to be mourned as losses. Instead, they are to be appreciated for the beauty they once held, for the lessons they imparted, and for the ways they helped shape me into the person I am today. These are the memories, these are the experiences that remain in the deepest corners of my heart, and no amount of time or distance can take that away. Through it all, I have learned that relationships, whether they last or not, are a mirror reflecting who we were, who we are, and who we are becoming. Each one teaches us something about ourselves and the way we connect with the world. And for that, I am forever grateful. Trust becomes an ever more intricate and fragile concept the older you get, each passing year adding layers of complexity to it. The more you experience the world, the more you realize just how delicate trust truly is. In my younger years, I trusted effortlessly, perhaps too easily, believing in the inherent goodness of people and their intentions. I saw the world through optimistic eyes, convinced that most hearts beat with sincerity. But life, as it often does, unfolded in unexpected ways, shattering that naive belief. I was betrayed in ways I could never have imagined, by those I considered closest, leaving me scarred and far more cautious. The truth is, once trust is fractured, it can be nearly impossible to rebuild. Now, at 70, I find myself holding my trust with tight, trembling hands, far more selective about who I let into the intimate chambers of my heart. It's not that I carry bitterness or anger. Those emotions have no place in my life anymore. I'm not consumed by regret or resentment. I've simply been tempered by the harsh lessons life has delivered, teaching me to guard my heart and be discerning. Over the years, I've been let down by those I never thought would hurt me. A so-called friend who, in the end, cared more about what I could do for them than who I truly was. A business partner who twisted shared dreams into selfish ambitions. Even family members who, for reasons beyond my understanding, chose to distance themselves, leaving me adrift in confusion and sorrow, questioning the very foundations of what I believed to be unshakable bonds. These painful encounters have left me with a choice that no one should have to make. Either I close myself off entirely, retreating into a solitary shell, or I embrace new relationships with a blend of guarded openness, allowing room for trust to grow but at a pace dictated by my experiences. I chose the latter, but that choice comes at a price. Each new person who enters my life is met not with the excitement or hope of new beginnings, but with a veil of suspicion. My first instinct isn't curiosity. It's to ask myself, what is their agenda? What do they truly want from me? What are they after? It's not a perspective I cherish, but it has been forged in the fires of painful lessons. Yet, amidst this cautious shell, I have also learned something profound. Trust is not just about others. It is about trusting yourself. Trusting your inner voice when something doesn't feel right, even when it means walking away from people you've known for years. It's about trusting your instincts to shield your heart when necessary, even if that means keeping a safe distance. It's about knowing that your peace is worth protecting, even if it means standing alone for a while. But even then, trust remains a delicate, ever-evolving dance. In the quiet of recent years, I've encountered a handful of remarkable souls who have gently restored my faith in humanity, if only for a moment. A kind stranger who helped me when I stumbled at the store, a neighbor who checks in during storms and bad weather. These seemingly small, simple acts of kindness, moments that once may have gone unnoticed, now carry immeasurable weight in my heart. They remind me that while trust is more difficult to give now, it is not an impossibility. At this stage in life, I have come to understand that trust, fragile as it may be, is never completely lost. It is a delicate balance, one that requires patience, understanding, and a willingness to remain open, without abandoning the protective instincts that have kept me safe all these years. As I've grown older, I've come to realize that trust is not about building impenetrable walls that isolate me from others. It's about creating boundaries, strong gates, that allow the right people in, while keeping out those who would harm or betray me. These boundaries are not walls of fear, they are the gates of wisdom, open when trust feels right, yet strong enough to protect me when it is not. Ultimately, relationships have become simpler in their complexity. I now treasure the few I trust wholeheartedly with a depth I never knew possible. The bonds I've nurtured, the connections that have endured, have become the true treasures of my life. At 70, I realized that these relationships, those grounded in deep trust, are the rare jewels worth cherishing. It's no longer about quantity but about quality, about the few who have earned a place in my heart. The world, too, feels different now. At 70, I often reflect on how much has changed, and how the pace of life, the fabric of human connection, seems to have shifted in ways I never imagined. It's not just the technology or the political landscape that's transformed, it's the very essence of how we relate to each other. Sometimes, I find myself aching for the warmth, the simplicity, the genuine connection that once flowed freely between people. I grew up in a time when neighbors were more than just people who lived next door, they were an extension of family. We knew each other by name, and a simple knock on the door often meant a cup of coffee and a shared moment. People helped each other without hesitation, without needing to be asked. Families gathered not out of duty, but out of love, genuine, uncomplicated love. There was an ease in those relationships, an unspoken understanding, a sense of belonging that didn't require constant effort to maintain. Now, I sometimes wonder where that sense of community has gone, where the warmth of human connection has disappeared in this faster, colder world. But even amid these changes, I know that I hold within me the power to shape my relationships, to trust with discernment, and to nurture the connections that matter most. Life may have taught me to be cautious, but it hasn't taken away my capacity for love, or my belief that, even in this complicated world, meaningful relationships are still possible. In today's world, it feels as though everyone is caught up in an unending chase, whether it's the elusive dream of success, the desperate pursuit of recognition, or merely trying to stay afloat in the relentless tide of modern life's demands. The art of truly connecting with others seems to have faded into the background, overshadowed by the constant pressure to be more, do more, and achieve more. Gone are the days when people would take the time to visit one another, when a conversation could flow slowly and naturally without the relentless tick-tock of an invisible clock urging us to move faster. These days, even the most intimate exchanges feel rushed, as though we're all sprinting down a path with no clear destination, afraid that any moment of stillness might make us fall behind. Within families, it's no different. The bond that once held us together seems thinner now, stretched not just by the miles between us but by emotional distances that seem harder to bridge. The warmth of a shared embrace or the comfort of an unhurried conversation is now often replaced by fleeting text messages and hurried phone calls. And while technology has undeniably brought us closer in some ways, enabling me to see the smiling faces of my grandchildren through video calls or catch up with old friends on social media, there's a part of me that can't shake the feeling that these screens, while convenient, have also created invisible walls between us. We are closer, yet further apart. There is something truly irreplaceable about sitting across from someone, about feeling the weight of their presence and hearing the subtle inflections in their voice that make the moment feel alive. It's the simple act of sharing space, of being fully present in each other's company, that no digital interaction can ever replicate. In a world where the buzz of notifications never stops and the urge to scroll through endless streams of information is ever present, there are days when it all feels like too much. The world feels louder, more chaotic, yet paradoxically emptier. It's as though the noise has drowned out the very essence of what it means to be connected. There are times when I long to step away from it all, to turn off the phone, to retreat into the silence and simplicity of my thoughts. And then, there's the matter of values. The world I see now often feels unrecognizable, with priorities that seem a world apart from the ones I grew up cherishing: honesty, kindness, and a deep sense of community. It's not that these values have disappeared entirely, but they seem so much harder to find in a world that often places personal success and self-promotion on a pedestal. I find myself longing for the simplicity of a time when relationships felt more grounded and less transactional, when time spent together wasn't measured by what you could gain but by the simple joy of being in each other's company. It wasn't perfect. No era ever is. But there was a depth to human connection that feels lost now, replaced by the constant need to be seen and heard. I am aware, of course, that nostalgia can often paint the past with softer colors than it deserves. Every time has its challenges, its difficulties. But as the world barrels forward, I find myself retreating, not out of bitterness or refusal to accept change, but out of a quiet, aching desire to hold on to what still feels real and meaningful to me. I crave the stillness, the simplicity of a life unburdened by the constant noise of external expectations. Solitude, I've come to realize, is not loneliness. When I was younger, I feared being alone. The thought of spending an evening without the company of others felt unbearable. I mistook solitude for loneliness, assuming that being alone meant I was disconnected and incomplete. But as I've grown older, I've learned to cherish solitude, to see it not as something to fear, but as a rare and precious gift. There is a profound difference between being alone and being lonely. Loneliness is an aching emptiness, a longing for connection that feels forever out of reach. Solitude, on the other hand, is a gentle fullness, a quiet contentment in your own company. It's the peace that comes from being at home within yourself, not needing anything or anyone to fill the spaces inside you. Now, at 70, I found that some of the most blissful moments in life come not from the bustle of the outside world, but from the quiet moments when I can simply be. Sitting by the window with a warm cup of tea, watching the birds flit and chirp outside, feeling the golden sunlight kiss my face during a morning walk, or hearing the crackle of a fire in the evening. These small, simple pleasures fill me with a sense of peace that no crowded room or extravagant event could ever provide. In solitude, I've rediscovered the beauty of life's quiet moments, and I've learned that it is these moments that truly nourish the soul, not the noise or the rush of the world around us. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment below to let me know that you are still here with me. Solitude has become a sanctuary for my soul, a sacred space that has allowed me to reconnect with myself on a profound level. At this stage of life, the quiet has blossomed into a gift, and memories, once fleeting and distant, now serve as both a refuge and a teacher. I no longer find myself burdened by regrets or missed opportunities. Instead, I look back with a heart full of gratitude for the experiences that have molded me into who I am today. Each recollection, whether joyous or painful, has woven a part of my identity. In the gentle silence of my thoughts, I've come to a place of peace with the past, accepting things that once felt too heavy to understand. This doesn't mean I've entirely withdrawn from the world around me. Far from it. I still find joy in the simple, radiant moments, like seeing my grandchildren's faces light up with pure delight during their visits, sharing laughter and stories with old friends, or supporting causes that ignite passion within me. Yet, these connections have taken on a new richness. They are no longer obligations I feel I must fulfill, but rather choices made with deep intention, grounded in love and purpose. I've come to realize that I no longer need to say yes to every invitation or keep relationships that drain my spirit. The beauty of solitude has allowed me to better discern what truly nourishes my soul and what doesn't. It's in this newfound clarity that I've learned to cherish the relationships that remain. When I spend time with others now, I do so with full presence, savoring each precious moment without the distractions of time or expectation. There is no rush, no overwhelming pressure, only the profound joy of being in the moment with those I hold dear. I've come to understand that solitude, in its purest form, teaches a love for oneself that no external validation ever could. It gently whispers the truth that my worth is not measured by the quantity of my connections or the busyness of my schedule. It's in the quiet, solitary moments when I truly realize that I am enough, just as I am, without the need to prove anything to anyone. Now, at 70, I have discovered that solitude is not a symbol of loneliness. It is a powerful testament to strength and self-awareness. It is an act of choosing to step away from the noise and chaos of the world, creating space to protect my peace and focus on what matters most. In this act of choosing myself, I found a joy deeper than I could have ever imagined, a sense of peace that is unwavering and enduring. It is a happiness born not from external sources, but from within, from the quiet assurance that I am at home with myself. Why I avoid people now? At this stage of my life, choosing to avoid certain people is not born from bitterness or resentment. It comes from a deep, nourishing desire for peace and self-preservation. After more than 7 decades of giving, learning, and sometimes enduring pain, I've come to a profound realization. Not every relationship is meant to endure, and not every connection is worth the tremendous emotional energy it takes to sustain. This understanding is not born from sorrow, but from necessity, a painful yet liberating truth that I've learned over the years. For most of my life, I was the one who gave freely. I poured my time, my heart, and my soul into the people around me, often without expecting anything in return. I wanted to be loved, to be seen as a source of support, to be the dependable one others could lean on. And for many years, that felt like my purpose. I found my identity in being needed, in being the steady hand that held others up during their storms. But life, with all its complexities and lessons, has a way of forcing us to confront our boundaries, even when it takes decades to understand where those boundaries should lie. I've been let down by those I trusted deeply, wounded by people I thought I loved, and drained by relationships that demanded far more than they ever gave. There were moments when I ignored the red flags waving in front of me, desperately clinging to the hope that the good in others would outweigh the bad. There were times I stayed in toxic environments, convincing myself that loyalty meant enduring emotional neglect or mistreatment. And while I had hoped my sacrifices would lead to understanding and reciprocity, I often found myself alone in my pain. Now, at 70, I see things with the clarity that only time can grant. Avoiding certain people is not an act of cynicism. It is a deliberate choice to protect my peace, my joy, and my spirit. I no longer feel obligated to maintain toxic relationships or to engage in situations that drain the very essence of who I am. Instead of filling my life with superficial interactions and exhausting social obligations, I have embraced the stillness and beauty of meaningful solitude. There, in the quiet, I have found a profound sense of peace, a calm that I have never known before. The frantic noise of forced connections and empty conversations has been replaced with the soothing comfort of my own company, and I can say, with absolute certainty, that I've never felt more alive, more at peace. I have learned to avoid people who bring unnecessary drama, and who make every moment about their struggles without once considering how I am. I distance myself from those who take my kindness for granted, expecting it to flow endlessly without offering anything in return. I avoid the energy vampires who feed off my compassion and leave me hollow, as though I've given away pieces of myself that can never be restored. And most crucially, I avoid any situation that makes me feel small or unworthy, where my soul is diminished in the name of appeasing others. This isn't to say that I've closed myself off completely. I still hold dear the relationships that matter, the friends and family who have stood by me through thick and thin, the ones who love me not because they need something, but because they genuinely care. These connections, these bonds of love and trust, are sacred to me, and I nurture them with every ounce of my being. But gone are the days of casting my net wide, of surrounding myself with people who don't truly see or appreciate me. Now I find strength in a smaller, deeper circle. A circle that, though modest in size, overflows with genuine affection, mutual respect, and unspoken understanding. In many ways, by avoiding people who would drain my spirit, I have come to appreciate the ones who truly matter even more. When I do choose to spend time with others, it's because I want to, not because I feel an obligation or a sense of duty. The conversations are richer and more authentic because they are chosen, not forced. The moments spent together are precious, filled with warmth, love, and depth that can only come from truly valuing the time spent in each other's presence. And so, I find myself at peace with my decision. The people I've kept close to are the ones who bring light into my life, not darkness. They are the ones who listen, who understand, and who enrich my soul with their love and kindness. In their presence, I find solace, and I no longer yearn for the empty noise of unnecessary social rituals. Instead, I am content, surrounded by those who matter most, and I can finally breathe, knowing that the peace I sought for so long is within me and that it was always worth the wait. Does this sound familiar? There are those quiet moments when I can't help but wonder if others in my age group share the same deep, almost indescribable feelings. Is it just me, or does the inevitable march of time slowly shift our perspective in ways we never saw coming? The years, the lessons, the heartaches, they shape us, yes, but they also carve out space for something different, something more discerning. I sometimes wonder if this process of growing older is universally marked by a subtle but undeniable transformation, a gradual turn inward, a natural selectivity that comes with age. It's as though life's disappointments, betrayals, and unfulfilled expectations gradually teach us to protect ourselves, to guard our hearts with a quiet but resolute strength. We begin to crave peace above all else, as if the noise of the world and the demands of others have lost their allure. I look back on the chapters of my life, and I see that much of my younger years were spent in a continuous dance of trying to meet everyone else's needs. I tried so hard to be everything to everyone, a good friend, a devoted partner, a dependable family member, always ready to give, always ready to show up. But as the years unfolded, the exhaustion crept in. It was a quiet exhaustion, almost imperceptible at first, but it became undeniable over time. I was running on empty, giving and giving, yet somehow feeling more hollow with each passing year. At the end of it all, I realized how little of myself remained. There was so much of me that I had given away to others, but in the process, I had lost touch with who I was. Now, as I find myself in this stage of life, I've stopped apologizing for guarding my time and energy. I've stopped feeling guilty for choosing moments of solitude over the social obligations that once seemed so important. I've stopped questioning myself for needing space to breathe, to think, to simply exist in a way that feels right to me. If you're in your 60s, 70s, or beyond, perhaps you've made similar choices. Perhaps you've begun to pull away from relationships that feel draining instead of fulfilling, from people or situations that no longer nourish your spirit. Maybe you've started to notice that you value quality over quantity, valuing those few, meaningful connections that bring joy, comfort, and understanding, rather than trying to maintain a wide social circle that leaves you feeling emotionally spent. This shift hasn't been easy. It's not a smooth, seamless transition. It's a journey of letting go, of releasing parts of ourselves that have long served a different purpose. And sometimes, I won't lie, it feels like a kind of loss. The familiar comfort of being needed, of being part of a larger circle, slips away, and it can be unsettling. But in truth, this stage of life is not about loss. It's about liberation. It's about shedding what no longer fits, what no longer serves my soul, and making room for what truly matters. It's about creating space for peace, for deep, soul-nourishing joy, for the things that speak to the heart and spirit. And if this resonates with you, if you found yourself making similar choices, know that you are not alone. There is no rulebook, no perfect way to navigate this part of life. Each of us walks this path differently, in our own time and our way. Some people, even in their golden years, thrive in large social circles, surrounded by friends and acquaintances, and that's a beautiful thing. But if you're like me, if you've found solace in smaller, deeper connections, in the quiet moments of reflection and self-care, then that's just as valid, just as meaningful. I've come to see it as a privilege. There is a rare kind of peace that comes with carving out a life that feels right for you, even if it looks vastly different from the life others might expect or desire for you. At 70, I've learned that it's okay to let go of the things that weigh you down, to release the people or situations that drain you rather than build you up. It's okay to prioritize your well-being, your peace of mind, and your sense of self. And in doing so, I've discovered a kind of freedom, a freedom I never even knew existed before. A freedom to be unapologetically, fiercely, and wholeheartedly myself. So, if you find yourself pulling away from people, retreating into the quiet, and choosing solitude more often than socializing, don't view it as a loss. Don't see it as something wrong or unhealthy. Instead, embrace it as a gift. It's a gift to be able to carve out a life that aligns with who you truly are, even if it means stepping away from the expectations of others. It's a profound act of self-love to protect your energy, your peace, and your joy. And in this process, you may find that you're not just protecting your peace, you're also rediscovering it. Here's to this chapter of life, a chapter filled with reflection, wisdom, and the quiet courage to live authentically. May we, in our own time, each find the peace, the joy, and the sense of fulfillment we so deeply deserve. This is our time to live, not by the standards of the world, but by the standards of our hearts. May we embrace this beautiful season of life with grace, and may we never forget that it's okay to let go of the things, the people, and the burdens that no longer serve us. Let us step forward into the future with hope, courage, and an unwavering commitment to our peace. Embracing this chapter. At 70, I have come to understand that life is not a relentless march toward endings, but rather a beautiful, ever-evolving series of beginnings. Each stage unfolds its lessons, challenges, and most importantly, its moments of profound beauty. This chapter, filled with its gentle simplicity and deeper reflection, feels like a culmination of all that I've experienced, a chance to embrace the person I've become and let go of what no longer serves me. It's a time for shedding the weight of the past and allowing the serenity of the present to wash over me. When we're young, there's an urgency to everything, a constant need to do more, to be more, to prove ourselves. There's a restless energy that drives us forward, fueled by the belief that the future is a vast expanse of untapped potential. We chase dreams, always looking ahead, believing that fulfillment lies just beyond the horizon. But as the years go by, that frantic chase slows. The restlessness fades, and with it comes a profound shift. No longer do I feel the need to race towards something outside myself. Instead, I have learned to savor what is right here, right now. This chapter is not about surrendering to life. It's about embracing simplicity and cherishing the small moments that are often overlooked. It's in the soft glow of morning light streaming through the window, in the pure joy of a grandchild's laughter, in the familiar warmth of a loved one's embrace. These are the moments that root me in the present, that remind me of the beauty and depth of life. There is something deeply grounding in these moments. They remind me of what truly matters. But this chapter is also a time of reflection, looking back on the life I've lived, not with regret but with overwhelming gratitude. My heart swells with pride when I think of my triumphs, the victories both large and small. My mistakes, too, are treasures, because they've taught me the resilience I never knew I had. The heartbreaks, though painful at the time, shaped me into someone capable of deep understanding and empathy. Each experience, every joy, and every sorrow has woven together the rich tapestry of my life. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 3 below to let me know that you are still here with me. Yet, this chapter is not only about looking back, it is about looking forward as well. There's a quiet excitement, a sense of possibility, in knowing that there is still time. Time to create, to learn, to grow, to be. It's a time to focus on what nourishes my soul, whether that's tending to the garden, diving into a new hobby, or simply allowing myself the peace of stillness. One of the most liberating aspects of this stage of life is the freedom that comes with it. The freedom to release the expectations, both those imposed by others and the ones I've placed on myself. I no longer feel the need to prove my worth to anyone. No longer do I strive to meet arbitrary standards of success or comparison. Instead, I have come to understand that simply being present, being myself, is enough. This chapter has also taught me the strength of setting boundaries, saying no when I need to, no to obligations that drain my spirit, no to relationships that no longer align with my values, and no to the pressure of trying to be everything to everyone. By doing so, I have created space for what truly matters: peace, love, and connection. There is a quiet but undeniable courage that comes with aging, the courage to live authentically, to stand unapologetically in my truth. I no longer fear judgment or misunderstanding. At 70, I have earned the right to prioritize my well-being, to voice my needs, and to live life on my terms. Gratitude pulses through my heart at this stage. I am grateful for the life I've lived, the good, the bad, and everything in between. I am grateful for the people I've loved and the memories we've shared. I am thankful for the strength that carried me through the storms and the joy that illuminated the brighter days. I am profoundly grateful simply for the fact that I am still here. Still breathing, still learning, still living. What does it truly mean to embrace this chapter? It means accepting the past with grace, without clinging to it. It means embracing the present fully, with open arms, and looking to the future with a heart full of hope. It means finding beauty in the everyday, in the simplest of moments. It's about cherishing the relationships that nurture me and letting go of everything that no longer serves my peace. It's not always easy. There are moments of loneliness, of wondering what's next, of missing the people and places that once filled my life. But even in those moments of uncertainty, there is an unshakable strength, a quiet knowing that I have come this far, and I have everything within me to keep going. At 70, I've realized that life is less about the grand milestones and more about the small, meaningful moments that fill our days. This chapter, though different from the ones that came before, is no less important. In many ways, it feels like the most authentic, the most honest, and the most peaceful part of my journey. Embracing this chapter is not about acknowledging limitations. It is about celebrating the boundless possibilities that still exist. It is about honoring the life I have lived while remaining open to whatever comes next. Above all, it is about living fully, deeply, and unapologetically, one precious day at a time. As we wrap up this reflection on embracing life's chapters, I want to ask you, what have you learned from this journey? What part of this message resonates with you the most? Take a moment to think about one thing you've learned today and how you will bring it into your own life. Share it with us in the comments below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. If you found value in this video, please leave your comment below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more content that inspires, encourages, and enriches our lives. Thank you for being a part of this journey with me. Keep living fully, deeply, and unapologetically, one day at a time.